Who is going to acquire Circle? Who should I use? Coinbase, Ripple, or Circle? It appears like a bidding war has broken out for CircleUDC. Now that we have all the data, I'll tell you how I feel and where I think this is going based on my analysis of the situation. Ripple and Coinbase are both interested in purchasing Circle's current initiatives. Please like and share this if you find it helpful, guys. Why don't we hit 100,000 views? Okay, so the C stablecoin from Circle is preparing for an initial public offering IPO with a valuation target of $5 billion or more. A new rumor, however, suggests that Circle has held informal discussions on a potential partnership with Ripple and Coinbase. For sale, in the steady coin market, this can cause a major upheaval. Around $61 billion in liquid assets distributed among several asset categories like Solana are held by Circle. Curiously, after deducting all of its payouts, Circle only made approximately $150,000 last year, despite making about $1,700,000 annually. Circle may not be in a whole lot of difficulty even though they are putting down USD. You can understand why larger predators in the forest may be attempting to snag them. Alright then. Rumor has it that Ripple formally offered to purchase Circle for $4 billion at the end of April. We thoroughly enjoyed discussing the strategic objective of Ripple. They create their own stable currencies for that reason. Although not as widely used as USDC, Ripple would quickly rise to the top of the stablecoin and payment industry if it acquired Circle. Just in case you forgot, the US dollar is currently not usable in the US or the EU due to regulations. Assuming that US regulations will be somewhat more stringent than UK ones, we can work around the fact that USD is now not usable in the UK by switching to another currency. Imagine for a second that the two largest marketplaces on the planet have banned USDT. In such scenario, Ripple would hold the world's most valuable stable currency in the most relevant markets, where USDT is not permitted. That is Ripple's goal here. They want to control all stable currency. Ripple should finally get out of the coin game, in my opinion. Its own strategy piques the interest of the lovely Ripple. Do you recall that we mentioned that Ripple will become the dominant force immediately after the crying Circle? We estimated that Ripple could pay for a deal using a combination of cash and large reserves totaling over $100 million. Just so we're clear, there is already 100 billion zero pennies in storage, and another 100 billion 0 cents on hand. Approximately 37 billion XRP plus some additional trust funds is what they're referring to, I believe. Nevertheless, Ripple must adhere to the rules and regulations as altering a significant amount of XRP could affect its value. Ripple hoped the court would reconsider her decision so that the business could sell XRP to a bank. Although XRP is not for sale at the moment, Ripple may be able to include it in a future transaction. The Circle board would receive 1 billion XRP, for instance, if that amount were transferred to Circle to compensate everyone. The outcome of the unsubstantiated rumors and expensive bids will be revealed later on. During our conversation, I made it plain that unless you've ever worked in sales or purchased a car or house, you probably won't start at $4 or $5 when you see something on the shelf and want to buy it. Okay, then I'll give you $20 right now if you say that. Would you mind if I offered 4 or 5 times what I did initially, to see if you would do it? If the opposite party declines. Are you seriously going to say that? Do you have 650? A total of 7? As you climb, you'll be taking baby steps. In business, I've learned that the upper limit is typically 20% over the initial bid. That's over $6 billion, so we discussed the unfounded and unconfirmed rumors. Avoid thinking about those. That would be really insane. At $4 or $5 billion, who among us would say no to the deal you're offering me? Heck, just take my money and act like I'm closing the business today. To manage USDC jointly, Coinbase and Circle established the Center Consortium in 2008. Coinbase retains a majority stake in Circle and has an attractive arrangement to split earnings from USDC reserves despite the consortium's dissolution in 2023. They were fantastic for Coinbase, and Coinbase recognized from the start that Circle would need them. Actually, this is the current rationale for the pressure on Circle. Perhaps Circle's company lost money on previous deals. That's why, maybe not the most diplomatic way to put it, Coinbase and Ripple are striving for success. The only way to be a successful company leader and shark is to grab opportunities when they come your way. Right? It would be the worst possible outcome if they said no, but if they said yes, it could lead to a lot of other relationships and wonderful things. we should proceed. As a result of its agreement with Circle, Coinbase has a great deal of power, including the ability to block new partnerships and perhaps oversee the creations and concepts of Circle. If one of the other companies were to declare bankruptcy, many employees would recommend IP Coinbase as a suitable replacement. IP Coinbase is able to make such a large purchase because it has approximately $8 billion in cash and other cryptocurrency investments. Despite having 100 billion coins, Ripple only has $8 billion in cash and other assets. More than half of Coinbase's assets would be at stake if they attempted this. I have my doubts about Coinbase's ability to handle it, but I have faith in them. However, an investment of almost $8 billion seems excessive, and I question if it is worthwhile. So let's pretend that Coinbase is ready to buy more sources, as we discussed earlier. It has always been the intention to sell Coinbase due to the interconnected nature of operations and income sources. Circle may have been aware of that. Coinbase would have acquired Circle by now if they were planning to do something similar, so it's hard to imagine this actually occurring. When it comes down to it, Coinbase ought to have been aware of this before Ripple, because Ripple found out about this financial data since Circle had to share it with others before coming public. In contrast, Coinbase is well versed in the internal numbers, since it has collaborated with Circle for some time. I was hoping Coinbase would have taken action by now, but I'm open to hearing your thoughts below. Additionally, Coinbase will be a part of it. In your opinion, will Circle continue as a standalone business? Is it likely that someone else will step in and assume control if that doesn't happen? Please tell me more about your thoughts on this. Will there be a bidding war? According to multiple sources, Ripple and Coinbase are actively considering purchasing Circle. Both parties have been amicable in their discussions. The value is increasing. A bidding battle is possible, even if Ripple's first offer was accepted, because both businesses recognize the strategic importance of controlling USDC to their long-term objectives. You did have 16 votes on the Genius Act, which is now being moved up for a vote. They were crucial in trying to get this done. Without them, we would have had to start all over from the beginning, as this rule is unlikely to be implemented until 2026 or even 2027. Please know how much of an inspiration Bill Haggerty and everyone else involved with this project are to me. Quite a while. Thank you. Now let's go into Circle's official IPO announcement. Maintaining its emphasis on its initial public offering IPO, the corporation has been certain that it is not for sale. Initial public offering IPO, since there is no product or service on offer. Really, everything is up for grabs. Sure, give it some thought. Regardless of the comments made,